Hey there, everybody. This is Kenny with another edition of the Yak with Mac. This week, we get to talk to sales performance coach Luis Palacios on the topic of leading with love. Listen in. Hey, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whenever you're watching. Welcome back to another episode of the Yak with Mac. This is Kenny, and I cannot wait to get to our special guest prepared. Prepare yourself to be inspired, whatever that looks like. You're about to be really inspired. And leaders, this is the place to come to be inspired and encouraged to become better influencers day in and day out. And so, my reminder is 10, 15 minutes a day, something that you should be doing, whether it's watching a podcast like this, reading an article, whatever adapts to your learning style, do something every day to develop yourself to become a better leader. Okay, I am getting to my guest because I am so excited. I'm so glad that he joined us. About a month or so ago, I got the pleasure of watching this gentleman on the DE&I podcast, and he was just so inspiring. Everything he was saying, I was just hinging on every word. And I started to look up, and I had a conversation with my buddy Colin. I was like, does this guy do leadership stuff? And Colin was like, I think he does. And sure enough, he was so gracious to speak to me last week. And he does. It's rare that we can get folks who actually train and inspire and encourage other leaders day in and day out. That's what he does. And so without further ado, I want to introduce sales performance coach Luis Palacios to the podcast. Welcome, Luis. It is fantastic to have you here. And I can't wait to get into some of the things that we talked about last week. But first, I want the audience to really get to know you. So why don't we start by you walking through your career journey, and then we'll go from there.
Hey, Ken, thank you for inviting me. My name is Luis Palacios. I work right now in the T-Mobile for Business. I've been in T-Mobile for the last 5 years. So I'm an engineer by nature. I was, doing great projects, and I felt that if you didn't have the leadership to be able to put people together, those projects won't be successful. So I decided to do my master's in leadership development. I went to Boston, to Harvard University, be there with the best professors in the world and be able to learn from them some of the great elements that help you lead people. And then almost 7 years ago, my country just collapsed. I lived in Venezuela. I was the head chief people officer to a small company up there. We had a great run, but the situation was impossible to leave, and my family wanted to come to the US. So I decided to come pack my bags and come here to this wonderful country, and then be able to join T-Mobile as a leadership development consultant for the Southeast retail. It was an amazing run, and now I'm helping the T-Mobile for Business. So every new manager that wants to lead people goes with me, and I start coaching them and providing them the service so they can, have those first 100 days in the role and do good. So I'm glad to be here and connecting with you, Ken.
Wow, what a journey. And to be able to leave and start over but yet thrive the way you have, that's just so inspiring, man. I got to tell you. Let's jump into it because I think you have such a unique role, and you're able to really touch and inspire both new as well as veteran leaders. But let's talk about those new leaders for a few minutes. What are some things that you've been seeing as areas of opportunity that you hit on every day with the new leaders that come in touch with you and come in contact with you?
Yeah. Well, I have to say that those new leaders were amazing players, and I like to use sports analogies. They were throwing, touchdowns. They were hitting home runs. They weren't doing so well as an account executive. They were loving our customers so well that management saw in them that possibility of promoting them, and so they can become managers and lead others. And what happens is what many times happens in sports. You have this great performer, and then he becomes the manager, and instead of being on the field, he's now in the dugout. And he wants to jump in the field. He wants to sell everything. He wants to be with every customer interaction. And that's not what a manager is. He's the person leading others, helping others be and do that. So that's kind of the most important struggle, helping them so they can help others become a great account executives. It's moving from being a top performer in the field to being a top leader in the dugout and helping others. So that's the biggest struggle I see in them.
I love that analogy, and I'm a big sports guy as well. And you see that so often, and often the top players, and from Magic Johnson to we can go on, don't usually make great leaders, and so it's a struggle I think leaders have because that's our natural progression, right? We figure
Mhm.
if somebody's a great seller, that they could be a great leader, and that's not always the case. So, what are some things? What are some tactics? What are some things that you've helped leaders get past that?
Well, I would say that the main tactic is go to our manifesto or to our, how these companies is the vision that we have to have the best network, the best value, and the best experience. Having that and creating a sense that before you were loving your customer, and you were out there hunting and be able to connect customers to this amazing network that we have. Now you have to shift your focus from loving the customer, which you're going to keep on doing, but to loving your employee and to create that shift to helping them, not the employee, not the customer directly, but helping the employee love the customer. And I am so thrilled that with Mike Seaver's leadership and with our senior leadership team, now we have these new values that finally put the wonderful world of love in the corporate arena. Before many companies were like, well, engage with the customer, engage with your employees. No, we're now going to that next level. We're going to love our customers. We're going to love our employees. And love is a really big word that's been around for centuries. So many times I use the Greek mythology to talk about what is loving our current employees and all the different aspects of how can you help love them so they can then do the work for our customers.
Man, I tell you, I'm blown away by that concept, and you're right. And this is the first time in my 23 years that I'm seeing that word used a lot. And I it's funny because I've kind of always had that philosophy myself. Let's go a little further. And so, how do you get leaders to buy into that concept and really take that love that they had for their customers and now translate that to loving and leading with love? What are some tactics that you take to leaders that maybe don't quite buy in? They're like, whoa, wait a minute, man, love? I don't know. What are some things that you do to get them to that next level?
Well, I have to say that I have learned from the best. I've been supporting the Southeast for almost 5 years. I was fortunate enough to have Wani Manasi as the first VP for the area. And he really started to engage this process of loving our employees and creating and helping them stand out in a big way. And then our current VP, Brad Nash, took it to another level. And he said, well, we're going to use the power of love as the motto for the region. So he brought conversation about helping employees love what they do, and if they are not loving it, go to someplace else that you can love it. And this went all the way throughout the Southeast, Florida, North Orlando, Jacksonville, Atlanta, all those markets were impregnated with this philosophy. And not only Brad as the VP, all the directors, Patty Barbosa down there in Miami, Jack Johnson up there in the Georgias, being able to install that culture of the power of love and learning from them how they were able to put this not so corporate theme out there and use fun and use engagement and use humor to be able to do that. And most of those leaders, Chris Green is now the vice president of Texas. Most of these leaders, Rafael Gomez is now up there, vice president in North Central, has been able to grow with the company because the power of loving your employees pays. It is a financial benefit when you have people that are really engaged, they love what they do it well, and then the business results come. And Florida has been able to get so many good business results, all those stores doing so well for many, many, many years. So at the end, love is not something that it is a romantic theme. Yes, it is a romantic theme. It is a spiritual theme, but it's also an economic element. When the company loves the customers pay out in results. When the company loves the employees, then the employees transform that love into love for the customers, and then we get the business results that we're getting as a company. So it's been a nice run. When I started in the company, the stock was $20. Now it's 100 and something. So it's incredible how the business and the financial comes when you do things the right way and you love the people that you work for.
That is so transformational. I just I can't say enough about it. And so we spoke about something that was pretty interesting the other day. That's sort of a little bit of a natural thing for leaders to feel, especially those leaders that get promoted. They were great salespeople. We talked about trust, right? I'm not going to trust that this person can, close that 20-line deal the way I could close that 20-line deal. And it takes a lot for them to let go of that. That's been challenging for you to coach that out there. What are some things that you've done to get leaders to now kind of let go of that and say, you know what, Kenny could do it just as well as I could do it?
Well, it is a process because you have to be smart when you trust. If you go out there and say, I'm going to trust you that you can close all these things from the get-go, the fact is that you were the one doing it and you got promoted because you were the best. And now you have somebody else that is probably not the best, and you are helping that person grow and do it. But that doesn't mean that you're going to step over that person every time you have a customer in front, because then you're not going to help that person fish and be able to understand how to get the best fish and be able to connect those clients to our network in the best possible way. So helping swift that mentality, so being the one fishing out there to helping others go out there and do the fishing. And at the beginning, you have to be smart because they won't be able to do it the first time as you were able to do it before. So you will have to start building that trust both ways. And then, okay, let me do it first, and you see me do it. Then let's do it together, and you will be part of the conversation. Now you're gonna do it, and I'm gonna be there in the boat helping you, see where the fish are and how to connect them. And then I'm gonna wait out there in the port, and you will go doing it on your own. And then we'll have a conversation of how that sales process went. And finally, after a while, that person has been able to do things on their own and get those sales on their own, then you're going to delegate. Perfect. You can do it out there, and we talk about the next week about your results. But it's a smart process. So there are amazing books out there to how to do it. I use a lot the Stephen Covey Speed of Trust process. A lot I use the Ken Blanchard being able to lead situationally. So those are some of the tools. But overall, it comes back to that word of love. If you love your employee, you're going to help that person be the best fisherman out there and connecting him to his success as an employee.
Yeah, Luis, I'm so glad you really went into detail on that, because I've found in the past that leaders tend to sometimes be one way or another, that they just say, yeah, I trust you, but yet, there's no process, there's no training, there's no teaching, there's no, slow process. Or, hey, I don't trust them at all. They're just not going to, do it as well as I did it, or I can do it. And I love that you said it. Yeah, they can do it as well as you, but you got to show them, and you've got to have that process. And it's not like you just let go in one shot. I love that. Um, because I really want to give you some space to talk about something really, really that struck me the other day. But before I get to that, you spoke a little bit about how critical those first 100 days are when you first get promoted into leadership, and you have such a key role in that. But talk a little bit about those first 100 days that you have now jumped into that leadership role, and how critical that is, and what are some specific things that leaders should be doing in those first 100 days?
Well, I will say that on those first 100 days, they had to understand that this is a new role for them. So they had to be able to connect with partners, connect with body managers to help them do this, because we are not Superman doing things on our own. We are a group of Avengers. Everybody has their own capabilities, their own strength, and we're going to do this together. So going from having an individual hunting performance to being part of a larger team, and we have, people in marketing, people in operations, people in HR, wonderful, amazing partners out there that are here to support. So being able to say, I'm not the only one leading this process. And I love to say that many times, and I use the word love, and there's many definitions of love, and one of those definitions is storge, is the love of the mother to the kid. And it's a wonderful way of saying, yeah, that's a very special kind of love. But the best mothers are the ones that help that kid have, a father, an uncle, a grandfather, a teacher. So there are a lot of people that can help your kid. You are not the only one that has to take care of that person all the time. So when you are really using Storge, yeah, you have that motherly love to your new employee, but being able to say, yeah, I need that person sometimes to fail and learn from their failings so they can understand the importance of going together and don't go alone and do some things and then get yourself in the bad situation. And that's very difficult for mothers to do. And that's part of the Storge love, being able to go into that place and say, I have to help that person do it on his own, but I'm going to be there to support him throughout the process. So that's one of the elements. And I've seen that Storge. I was able to be here in T-Mobile with a great leader, Joey Munoz, our director in HR over there in the Southeast, and she was really using that word. Hey, Luis, this is your area. You will do it. I will be here to support you. I will let you do things and also let you fail and guide you through the process and providing you the safety net so that can happen. Providing you also the time off and the resources and everything that you need so you can excel, and I will be there to support you whatever the outcome comes so you don't end up in a bad place. So that's one kind of love that we need to express. And new managers is very difficult because those account executives, they feel that they are just new. No, but they have been there. Most of those new account AEs, they have been there for 5, 10 years. So you are the new manager. They are not the new account executives. So being able to understand that is that you are not having a baby out there. They have been doing their thing for a while. You are the one being the new mother, the new person in the role, and understanding that it's your transition and not theirs. You have to help them understand how to work with you, but ultimately you are the ones taking the new role. You are the one going through a transition and helping those first 100 days so they can understand how to deal with that.
I love the analogies that you use. The one of a mother, and really it takes a village, right? It really does. And I think one of the traps that leaders fall into in those first 100 days at times is that they think they have to do it all on their own, and they don't build those relationships with their peers and have formed that alert circle that I talk about sometimes. I love that analogy. Okay.
Yeah.
This is outstanding stuff. And so when I asked you the other day, I said, Luis, what are some things that you do to develop yourself? This is where I really want to give you some time and space, because some of the things that you said really hit home for me, and I'm sure it's going to hit home for a lot of leaders. And you talked a lot about servant leadership and some of the things that you do day in and day out to fill yourself up, to go out there and really, have these productive days where, I know you're probably not going to say this, I'll say it for you. You touch a lot of leaders every single day. You have a full calendar of just having conversations and coaching and being able to give advice. So how do you fill yourself up every day? What are some things you do? And talk a little bit about, actually, you can talk a lot about servant leadership.
Well, I love that you bring the topic of servant leadership because ultimately we're here to serve the people that serve the customers. And Mike Siever talks a lot about it. That's our role. And John Fryer, he also talks about it. Our role as support partner is to help those who are helping the customers. And so we have to be a servant leader, and those are the individuals that are important. So being able to organize my life, I start very early in the morning, as everybody, took my coffee, do my praying. I think that a good leader developer has to have a very balanced life, family life, spiritual life, and then work life. I organize my day. I use the Outlook calendar. Franklin Covey has something called the 5 choices for productive individuals that you can organize each of the days and see all the roles that you have. So then I'd be able to say, okay, let's start working with the first one. What is their challenge? How can I help this person? What tools can I bring to the table? And then go to the next one. And at the end of the day, be able to close it up and say, well, I was able to hit 5, 6 different individuals in different parts of the country, be able to support them in the process, and then feel good about being serving them, about going with their agenda and then supporting whatever they need on their agenda with the different tools that we have. And we have a great company that provides so many good tools for us to be able to support that. So that's kind of the main element. And by closing the day every day, then you say, well, I also have to take care of myself, because if I don't take care of myself, I won't be able to take care of other people. So then go out there, exercise, make sure that I'm connecting with my own family. And I have here my picture of them right there where I work, so I can make sure that I'm doing this work for our customers, but I am doing it through our leaders. But then I have my family and my friends to support me while I'm doing this work.
Yeah, I love all of that, and I love the routine that you have. Yeah, and I think we sometimes see leaders that, oh, my days are so hectic, I don't need to have a routine. You can have a beginning and an end to your day, and everything else in between, you're in control of. You really are. And I know things come up with customers. If you're dealing with external customers, things come up, but I love that. But I especially love the idea of that servant leadership, and it's just going to stick with me, and I know folks that are watching is going to stick with them as well. And it's really flipping the script, because traditionally, hey, you work for me, but that's really not how it should be, right? It should really be that, hey, I'm serving you. I'm going to help you get better day in and day out. Yeah.
Well, there's a word also in the Greek mythology about love, and there are two different words that I like to talk about. First is the philia. So when you love the people that you work with, they become your family, and then you can have that philiatic love. And that's, Philadelphia is about, being able to connect with in the place of brotherly love. And yeah, we want to love the people that we work with, and that's very important. That's one of the aspects of love. And here in T-Mobile, we have that amazing thing. But also love, why we are doing this, and that's the purpose. And I have to say, in Venezuela, I was being able to be the people officer in that company for 7 years, and I was able to hire so many people and bring the benefits, and I had a very good run. But that company made rum, and it is great that we were making rum, but my purpose was not complete. I felt very good about being able to help many people and create processes and all that, and recruit and train and all that. But ultimately, I was not loving enough the purpose of the company of producing rum. I know that rum is a good thing to go party and do some things, but I went to my clients, and I was feeling that the ultimate purpose, why are we doing this, was not strong enough to stand me in Venezuela and go through all the difficulties of a country that was falling apart. So when I came here to the US, I say, I want to work for a company that has a real good purpose. That what we're doing something that is important for everybody in our community. So that's why I decided to work and come to T-Mobile. I didn't apply to many organizations. This is one of the best that I really, and I was able to concentrate. And I started doing a lot of work here in the Southeast, and it was amazing. But a day came when a hurricane came, and we went through Hurricane Michael to the Panhandle, and we went there with all our leaders, and we saw the importance of our network. People were really struggling dealing with the situation. They didn't have water. Their houses were wrecked. And what they really needed was to talk to their loved ones out there in other places of the US, so they can come and help them, because the hurricane took over their house. And be able to be the ones supporting that and provide and giving them, the phones that they needed to connect to their life was amazing. I also experienced the Hurricane Maria up there in Puerto Rico. I support my beautiful, loving people out there in Puerto Rico, Solange Corujo, all those amazing leaders out there, Jorge. So being able to connect them, and when the Hurricane Maria came, they were really a struggles. And John Fryer took a plane and went out there and provide them some tools, and then we were able to get a lot of services from Florida out there to Miami, to San Juan, Puerto Rico, and then be able to say we are here in a very important moment of their lives where their livelihood is at stake, and then we say this is a company that has a real good purpose. And 5G and whatever we're doing to move forward with the technology is going to help a lot of people and provide. So ultimately is the agape word. Is the word that we're doing this for a higher purpose, which is really helping connecting those customers. And that's the ultimate love that we can have for the company. Not only the people that we work for, not only the benefits that we're getting, not only the money that we're making, not only the role that we're doing, but the purpose that we have as a company. And I will really, strongly suggest everybody that goes into our kind of into our T Nation and to go there and see our ultimate purpose, see our new values that we have as a company, and put them in action and lead by that example.
Wow. I could talk and listen to you all day. It's important work that we do. It is how important is that to be able to still connect with people after going through some devastation, and being able to help do that. It puts it in perspective how important the job is that we do and the purpose that we have. Luis, I got to get you back on the podcast, man. I can listen to you all day, and I'm sure that folks are going to get so much out of this. So I got to get you back. Would you come back on with me in a couple of months, maybe?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here to support whatever you need and whatever our leaders out there need. I feel that ultimately, one of the elements of love is pragma, is being a pragmatic person.
Yeah.
And sometimes you work in a difficult situation and be pragmatic about the career. You have to withstand the hurricane, the torment, the storm. Sorry, I'm a Latino, so I use a lot of Hispanic words. And then be able to say, right now we're not going through a good phase, but this will finish once we are in a better environment. We're going through a pandemic. We're going through an integration. So be pragmatic around it, and then be able to love people with pragmatism. So hopefully you can connect me in the future with whatever I need to support, and I'm ready for you.
Okay. Thank you so much, man. I know how busy you are, so thanks for taking the time. Well, folks, let's wrap up. This has just been so inspiring. After you watch this, please share this. And we know that there are a lot of leaders that needed to hear the words that Luis said today, but he's very, very specific too. You could take some very specific things that you could put into your routine every single day that's going to help you become a better leader. Leading with love. Man, I can't tell you how much that excites me. So this has been Kenny and Luis with the Yak with Mac. We'll be back next week. Luis, thanks again, man.
See you. Have a great day.
Okay.